waiting for a few more people to arrive. And just while I'm speaking, you might want to address this question on the board. If you had the best IT school system in the world, what would it be doing for you? And you can put making your dinner or cups of tea, that's fine. But what else would it be doing for you? And as you're answering that question, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Chris Salmons. I'm the head of school at Bangkok Patna. It's my third year in that post. And before that, I was an international head teacher working for the English Schools Foundation in Hong Kong. Before that, I was leading and managing schools in the UK. And everywhere I've worked, whether they're selective, non-selective, whether they're considered outstanding or in need of improvement by those that come and measure us, I've yet to work in a school that hasn't been packed full of people that get out of bed every morning wanting to do the very best they can for children. So first of all, let me honour you all as educators. Keep doing what you do, it's fabulous. And let's just get some answers up then, and to this first question. Is it possible to see some of the live answers on this form? Or are we going to have a look at those? Here we go. Possibly we're going to have a look at some of those answers that come up on the form. We've got our first session, which is about data and how data might inform us on what strategies we might need. We're then going to have a session on joint accreditation. We're then going to have a further session on some heads of some schools who've been through accreditation with our international accreditors to find out some of the benefits that might bring us in terms of improving standards for our learners. But here we go, some answers. If your school had the best ICT system in the world, what would it be able to do? More active learning, more freedom. Wow, the freedom we've had just in the last 3 years, and we have an AI expert in the room in just 3 years as well, that's for sure. Standard service. We would cooperate with other schools around the world to share our ICT systems to support all schools. So the benefits of being able to network with each other, for sure. Could we scroll down a bit, please? Assimilate data. Yeah, this pooling together of our knowledge, helping to reduce workload, provide the very best lesson. I love the aspiration that we have as educators, always wanting the best. And creating the easiest way for teachers and staff to fix the issues and problems for all devices by themselves. Yes, turn it off and on again. That's my advice. For the next half an hour, we're going to hear from John. John has a Master's in Educational Leadership. He's also a certified WOSC visiting committee member, and also has a long-standing professional experience in Microsoft and integrating IT systems into the workplace as well. So John, over to you for the next 20 minutes, and then we'll have some questions at the end. Give him a round of applause, come on.
Okay, welcome everybody. So I want to get started. Sorry, I'm bursting a little bit after that lunch. My name is John Cork, and I'm the Deputy Director for Academic Services, or Vice Principal, at KMIDS. I know a lot of you have questions. A lot of you have asked us today, what is KMIDS? We're King Mongkut International Demonstration School under KMITL. If you know, KMITL is one of the leading technology and engineering schools in Thailand, colleges, right? We have 520 students, and we specialize in future-ready students, preparing students to be future-ready. We support that with a very, very robust, what you'd say, elective program where students can take everything from art to technology classes. On top of that, we offer, I think this coming year we'll offer like 15 AP classes, 18 AP classes, wow. Okay, and also what makes us unique is our students during their senior year, they can take join the Pathway program and take courses at KMITL to get university experience and credits. So ultimately what we're trying to do is make Thai students future ready. We are a grade 6 to 12 middle school, high school. We do have a emerging kindergarten and elementary school that we hope will start feeding us students in a few years. Okay. So that's my sales pitch. Is it okay? Sorry. Okay. So let's see where we are. Okay. Oh, sorry. Got it. Okay. I had it upside. All right. So I want to begin by asking a question that I'm sure many of us have heard from students, parents, teachers, even from the visiting committee of WASC, okay? How do we know your systems are actually leading to learning and improvement, right? How do we know that all these systems, we were having a talk at lunch today, many of us have an SIS, we have an LMS, we have child safeguarding software, we have all this software together. How do we know that it is leading to improvement? Okay, so at KMIDS, our answer is clear and simple. Oh, thank you. IT systems aren't just about technology, they're about evidence for action. Evidence that shows us where we are, where we need to improve, and how we demonstrate continuous progress, okay? So we've taken on an approach at our school where that we are constantly analyzing where we are, where we need to improve, and how do we demonstrate that as continuous process. If you think of your schools, maybe for those of us that have been in education for a while, it used to be that a non-data-driven school would feature like teachers guessing which students need help. Admins, you send out an email, did the parents receive your email? Schools standardizing everything from assessments to feedback, right? So what does the data-driven school of today look like? In a minute, I'll get into accreditation, but we are now today, most of us are we're tracking attendance patterns. We're analyzing test performance. We're measuring parent engagement. We're monitoring learning styles. We're generating insights, right? So we've all had to make that transition from kind of non-data driven to a data-driven school. Some of us have yet to do it. Some of us are doing it, and some of us are probably doing it very well. Okay. So one of the reasons that we took this journey is we were recently fully accredited by WASC. I think we have a 6-year accreditation, right? We're in a 6-year accreditation cycle. And it wasn't easy for us because we are affiliated with a university, which is a bit different, right? It's not an easy accreditation process because we were kind of outside the mold, right? So that was a bit different for us. So what I want you guys to do is think about your own school organization. What does effective improvement look like to you? And does it involve data? Okay. So that's just something to think about. When we were doing the WASC, writing the WASC reports and trying to gain accreditation, that was one question that we had to ask ourselves. So the main challenges that we faced when we were trying to kind of put all our data together, data tells a story, but that story is only as good as the data you can collect. So this is a huge one, data overload. Okay, we have lots of data out there, right? Again, like you have many systems that you use at your schools, but you would be surprised if you sit down and actually think about all the ways that you can get data. It's overwhelming. So for example, I found like maybe 32 different areas where we can gain data, everything from academics to purchasing, to attendance, to, there's just such a wide range of data that, is this too loud? Is it okay, too loud? Is this okay? This okay? Okay, all right. So data overload is a problem. So how do you organize your data? That's the big issue today, right? How do you, everything's siloed, everything is contained in different silos. How do you take that and put it into one data lake, okay? Staff data literacy, okay? So we all have teachers, academics, staff members on our team. They all have different amounts of data literacy, right? Do they know how to take a spreadsheet and run it through Copilot or ChatGPT and get information that will help their teaching, right? Does your teacher know how to maybe go, like our SIS, RenWeb has Power BI built into it. Do they know how to go in, use that report to see real time what students are struggling? System fragmentation, that was what I was talking about. You know, how do we build a unified system? How are you going to take, you know, ISAMS, PowerSchool, RenWeb, your SIS? How are you going to merge that with other tools that you use? Weak reflection cycle, insufficient insight follow-up, okay? So, you know, are you reflecting on your data? Privacy ethics, this is a big one. British schools have what's called a data protection officer. Do you guys all have data protection officers, DPOs? And it was a nightmare, right? We talked about it a lot in our ISTech group. American schools, we assign somebody to be kind of the data protection officer. When PDPA came out, you have GPDR that you British schools have to focus on. It was quite a task. Okay. So as leaders, we face a deluge flood of data, from test scores to budgets. All right, so what are we gonna do? How are we gonna handle all of this data? Well, first off, I just wanted to quickly talk about the different systems that we use. Our student information system, FACS RenWeb. You can see that we use it for admissions, enrollment, transcripts, attendance, grades, behavior tracking. And I put this in for you WASP people, right? So you can see that, you know, we're aligning it. Is that right? Tell me if it's right. Is it correct? All right. Learning and collaboration platform, Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365. We communicate in our organization with Microsoft Teams. Mark and I, Mark is the principal, vice principal, we probably get, you know, on a good day, 100 messages, on a bad day, 300. It gets a bit overwhelming. Process automation, we use Microsoft Power Apps P1 to automate many processes, our leave requests, our purchasing requests, things like that. Data and reporting, Power BI is a Microsoft product. It integrates with our SIS. We can look at all types of information from attendance to grade trending, grade trends, things like that. Parent-teacher communication. We use TES parents meetings, I think it's called now, which is our parent-teacher conference. We can get a lot of good data from that. How many parents are scheduling meetings, PTCs with our teachers. Safeguarding and compliance, we use Educare and National College to train our teachers. And we use, we just bought TES My Concern so that teachers, parents, students can report any child safeguarding issues, okay? So what I'm trying to figure out right now is how do I put all of this data together and how do I extract meaningful data from all of this, right? You need a data lake. So that's the big challenge. All right, so I just went through this really quick. This was our student information system, FACS RenWeb. How many here have an SIS at their school? Student information system? Okay. So we were talking some of the popular ones, Power School, ISAMS is very popular with the British schools in Thailand. RenWeb FACS for a lot of independent schools. Microsoft Teams and Office 365. We have an A3 license. It's got a lot of great things. For example, they do have now reading progress AI and speaking progress AI. Students can use it to read or to speak, and it actually will give them diagnostics on how well they're doing. Okay. So Microsoft Power Apps, we streamline admin, identify bottlenecks, optimizing resources, enhancing workforce planning. Okay. Power BI and SI with our SIS, which I mentioned before. Parent-teacher engagement, safeguarding and compliance. Okay. So again, the big issue is here, how do we put this data together and understand it, make our schools continually improve? So what we've tried to do is, what have we learned? We tried to integrate FACS, our SIS, and Microsoft 365, Power BI, and Power Apps. What it does is it unifies student data learning and safety system. And what we'll do with that is, I'll take that data, and recently, for example, Microsoft Copilot, through the A3 license, a paid license, the Copilot is free. There's a paid version, but the Copilot is good enough to identify. So example, if I'm doing a report on the fire drill survey with the teachers, if I'm looking at class data to see trends in student grades, maybe by department, what is there grade inflation for one department or one teacher compared to other teachers, that type of thing. So it's with AI, Copilot has enterprise grade security, meaning that your data stays private. AI isn't going to, the ChatGPT AI isn't going to train itself on your data, okay? Google Gemini, a lot of your Google schools has the same type of thing. The issue with using ChatGPT or like, for example, Perplexity or some of the other LLMs or AI tools is you kind of have to, technically you're supposed to anonymize your data before you run it through, because it's not, the argument is you don't know if they're training your student data, your teacher data. So you can anonymize the data, but does that really help? Because it's a sticky situation, right? So I think one of the things you have to figure out is you can collect all this data, but how are you going to analyze it without being in violation of maybe PDPA, GDPR, or losing some of that anonymity? You don't know if that data is going to be, or AI is going to train itself on that data, right? So that's an important thing to figure. I think if you use Microsoft, you can use you can use Copilot, you're okay. If you're a Google school, you can use Gemini and you're okay, because those are enterprise grade solutions, and they guarantee that they're not going to train their AI on your data, okay? And again, for us, one of the big things I want to look at maybe is some software out there that can better combine all of our data so that we can get better results from it. AI human collaboration. As leaders, we need this information to make better decisions, can make our life a lot easier. Okay, empowered leadership. How many of you have a dashboard where you can walk into your office, you can see immediately how many students are absent, maybe what students all of a sudden their grades are rapidly increasing or decreasing. You can see, if the bus is late, how often the bus is late. You can see what dorm students are leaving the dorm late. Like, this should all be in one dashboard. That's what the future will bring us. As leaders, we'll be able to walk in and have all that information right there, be able to make decisions very quick. I don't know if anybody has found a solution or is creating a solution like that. Some of Maybe you guys are, I don't know. Are you doing anything like that? Some of the, at Bangkok Patana or at Haro, you're looking at that, right? Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at in the future. All right. And your data is only as good as the quality. You have to clean your data. I think you've all heard that term, cleansing your data. You have to invest in data literacy. So it really helps to spend time teaching your teachers how to use the data that they have, how to use it safely, and how to use it to improve student outcomes. So for example, we use National College training. There's some good courses there that teachers can use. We use Microsoft Learn. There's some courses online that teachers can do, and also, some face-to-face trainings. So I think this is going to be an important data literacy for teachers and administrators is going to be a very essential skill. If it isn't now, definitely in the near future, right? Ensure school-wide consistency, right? Centralized data. Excuse me. So again, we don't want our data to be siloed. How do we get it into one area, one data lake? Data lake is basically, you'll hear it when people talk about technology, a data lake is just one area that all your data is warehoused in, and you can pull any of that data from that central location. So this is just kind of redundant to what I was talking about before. Ongoing evaluation, robust data collection, actionable improvement plans, clear data governance, staff capacity building, accessible analytics. This is kind of what we're striving for. We're not doing it perfect, but hopefully we'll get better every month. Okay, developing a model for data excellence. Okay, integrated systems, intuitive insights, promoting equity. AI discussions require critical attention to student privacy, especially for a WASC accredited schools, modeling ethical practice. Okay, so what I was talking about before, data anonymization protocols, all student data should be anonymized prior to AI analysis if you're not using an integrated system, like an enterprise secure system. Make sure you're using an enterprise secure system when you're analyzing data, or you could be in violation of PDPA or GDPR. AI and data analytics must never compromise student safety. Let's see how I'm doing on time here. At KMIDS, we transform data into action. AI offers speed and scale. Human insight provides context and care. This synergy drives continuous improvement, aligning with our WASC accreditation. Right? These are some of the things that, again, we were talking about the future, proactive student risk identification. AI leverages historical data to identify at-risk students, enabling early support. We're doing this with some of our systems like My Concern and whatnot. Predictive dashboards for monitoring. I think we, as leaders and administrators, we would all love a dashboard that has all of our student and school data. What if school modeling? Okay. I think now and in the future, you can use AI to do what if, you make a decision. You can ask ChatGPT, if I do this, what would the possible outcomes be, right? Have you ever done that? No? It works. I do it every day, don't I, Mark? That's right. Adaptive learning systems, integration with educational tools, individualized feedback, support for measurable growth. Has anybody heard of what's called alpha schools in America? Yeah, what they're doing is they're totally AI driven. Students basically study for 2 to 3 hours a day. Each student has a very bespoke program based on, adaptive learning. AI measures their results. It's expensive. To the school is like $60,000 a year right now, but eventually all of that will filter out to other schools. But it's very, AI driven. And they say that in 3 hours, their students advance almost 3 times faster than a student in a normal education system.
Wow, John. And can I just ask you to maybe finish off with your last thought now for us?
Let's see. Go back here. How do your systems lead to improvement? That's just what I want everybody to get out of this. The main thing is, how are your systems leading to improvement in terms of analyzing data? How is it going to make your school better? So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Let's give John a round of applause.
I apologize. It was a bit rushed. I tried to do a 2-hour presentation in 20 minutes.
John, I was just thinking, whenever I think about your session for 30 minutes, I have been having hot sweats, really, because one moment you can be dealing with a really small thing with a member of staff that they can't use Teams. The next moment you're dealing with a data breach with something from the back office, maybe. Next moment the safeguarding, and then the next moment you're planning a replacement strategy for some of your Wi-Fi. So actually to kind of spread ourselves over this huge area is phenomenal. And I think you've given us the full scope and range of both the detail and the breadth of what we need to think about. But there is a bit of space. If anybody's got a burning question, how do I use Teams, or how do I plan a strategy? But is there anything that anybody would like to note, or just while we've got John for a few minutes, would like to ask specifically?
Sure.
Thank you for sharing your experience and insights. So I was wondering, you raise a lot of, I think we relate to it in terms of how do you integrate different programs, but that serve different needs across the schools into one system.
Okay.
So how do you consider developing like a customized system-wide program, or do you find it better to actually use off-the-shelf software and then integrating it yourself?
Yeah, so basically, because we have all the different systems, what I do right now is I kind of collect all the data within spreadsheets and whatnot, and then I analyze the data using either Power BI or AI, So, but what I'm looking at is exactly that. My goal would be, like when Mark or Edward, Dr. Gate walk into the office, I want them to be able to have that dashboard with any data metric that they need, right? So that's what I've been working on. So basically right now, I think there's probably software out there that would do that, but it would be expensive. So I think for us, it's kind of a project, but I think that's going to be the, status quo for schools. In probably 5 years, everybody will have all of their data in one location where it's easy to see. And it will also give you predictive analysis, and I do use AI for that. So for example, I can put in data like, for example, this student, these are his grades over the last 2 years, and kind of predict what's going to happen. And then, we can make a plan for that student based on that data.
Yeah, I interesting use of the word project, because ideally we'd just like one product that we could take and it would give us everything we want. And the truth is, I don't think that will ever be the case.
Yeah.
And it's how you, I think, reconcile that that's okay, and how you bring together a variety of products to give you what you need, and then accept that those needs will change and you're continually reviewing, which I guess is part of the questions you answer in the accreditation cycle when you were looking at this.
Yeah. So for us, how this all came to I guess being was at that time we were going through accreditation. We had all this data, and that is exactly the time that AI tools like ChatGPT started to become more prolific, and we just had tons and tons of data. So we had to sit down and figure out how to analyze it and get meaningful results. And then we also have to teach other people how to do that as well, right? So.
The one product you just mentioned, what's important is you have a John. John is kind of our one product that is able to bring all of this information and combine it all into one. So he is sort of our living, breathing dashboard right now.
Thank you.
Eventually, we're hoping that he's able to, clone himself, and so we have many in every. Now, the important thing is John also, what he didn't mention, he's constantly putting out training for our teachers, constantly. So it's important that not only what John is doing in his office, combining all of the information, the data into one space, but also making sure that a Luddite like myself is kept up to speed as well. So that's important. So the human element is really still important. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
You.
So John, I think that was your invitation at your next performance review to ask for some more money. So thank you later. Okay.
Dr. Gate on that one.
Dr. Gate calls me the AI bot. Yeah.
There we go. So I just wondered whether Margaret you'd like to come to the stage and get yourself ready just while I'm talking. So another round of applause for John, please.
Thank you.
And to think about your data needs, your system needs, and then the customer needs as just a project that you're continually going to be reviewing, and also how you use the accreditation questions from whatever framework you're doing to keep yourself under review as you're moving through things. So Dr. Margaret is just getting herself set up now, and what she's going to do is she's going to lead us through a session about how accreditation standards support and drive school improvement. And as you can see, Dr. Margaret from Singapore as head of school, president of VIRCOS, and also an IB regional council member and trainer, has probably got one of the broadest profiles to speak to a number of accreditation agencies that you have to try and make sense for what you need to do in your own school setting as well.